I think if I had to go back, let's say 2005 and say, did I see myself here? No, I didn't. So that way, very, very happy about where I am. It's an easier question, right? If I want to make 50 lakhs, what do I do? Then you need to do this job. But if you have to be amongst the top 100 people in the country, then there are many people putting in that much effort. So how do you actually be amongst the few people who's actually put in the maximum? Because we're all in the same landscape. So I think hard work in my mind is everything, but you need a little bit of luck. Both Appa and Amma struggled a lot to make ends meet. Appa is one of those people, morning school limited, if he goes to office, he'll come back like we'll see him like much late in the night. So Akka and me grew up in the creche. Appo there was this thing saying we need to make an impact, we need to prove ourselves, because I think education if you had to kind of rotate your funds and do all that. So money was a huge role. Akka did engineering. I saw that it costed a lot of money. I said no, I don't know, I don't want to do this. Then I did ACS, which is something you'll have to do like a correspondence. It's something to do with legal and secretarial aspect. Dadonu padikno, and you have to make meaningful money and live your experiences. Husband is Hari. Hari has his own startup. He is the most passionate person you will ever meet in life. He's been hit many times. I think something that's common between Hari and me is that we've not had it easy. You had two choices, right? One, when you hit with all of these things, you either curl up or you sort of dust yourself and get up and move on to try and do what more you can do. He's a pillar of strength. So there's Diya and Arjun, 6.5 years old. Like, I don't know where they get their energy from, but they are this big bundle of joy. The way the kids actually just come pouncing at the door and, it's like rendu trophy kudutha mari irukum. It's literally like that. They're just there and they will leave everything aside the minute I come to spend time with me. The current company that I work for, it's called IIFL Wealth. Again, run by people who started off on their own, decided to break those barriers, right? I think phenomenal sense of, entrepreneurship here. I think we, collectively as a team, we'll manage about 5,000-6,000 crores in terms of assets that we advise. That's just us. The company, of course, is much, much larger. We manage, it's a public listed company. We manage almost 3,20,000 crores. A lot of these clients are like family to us. They might be worth a couple of 100 crores. You are, technically a nobody, advising people who've been super successful in their lives. But today they look at you with so much value, and I think that's very close to my heart. So I have a thyroid condition. I got heavy, but more than heavy, I think I was very tired, I was very exhausted. And fatigue is something that just comes in like this. I'd started taking thyroid for the longest time, right? 15 years plus thyroid medicines. But then it started taking a toll on my cycles, and then suddenly my insulin levels were off. So then you realize that you were just adding one pill on top of the other, and that wasn't a great feeling at all. April 2020, right? Peak of the mango season. That's when I decided that I have to change lives. That's when I spoke to Saravanan and then took on Amura almost instantly. I think that conversation changed a lot. What I couldn't solve, right, in 20 years of my life was just not get my cycles on time. And I had a lot of trouble because of that in conceiving and my pregnancy and so on and so forth. I think that's been a phenomenal change. So instead of coming back home at 7 o'clock and feeling extremely exhausted, right? you actually have the energy to push through another 4 hours of work. But for me, it was almost like I had a extra pair of legs to run, and I could just do more, and I think that played a huge role. And I spoke to Anne about food and what you could take in, what are the restrictions, and everything had a thought process. I understood grouping of vegetables, the fact how nuts play a role, how does good fat actually play a role. I related to a lot of those thoughts. Obviously very grateful to both Sarunan and Anne, and I think the entire team. It's very meticulous. Every single morning you'll get a ping from the team. They'll be like, yes, hi, good morning, what's your weight today? It'll start from there, right? And I don't think there's ever been a day that the team has missed reaching out. And then that's a very subtle way to say, hey, you're important for us. If there's one thing that I have continued to do, is check my weight every day. So it helps you balance it off. And that's what I think I learned in this program, how to really respect that body that you have and balance the nutrients you give it. I think that made a lot of change. And it's really nice to see that you've been able to impact just by, the fact that you did something, and therefore, whether it's family, it's cousins, it's your parents, or, your friends, your colleagues, so many of them have done it now. And I think it's nice because they call you and say, hey, we saw you do this, and then we did this, and this is what this has done for me in my life. I think it's very, very rewarding. That feeling it's great. Life, I think, is only once. I don't know about this. But I think life is just once, and you have to live it up. In my opinion, you have to make every second count. I never thought of food, or let's say, changing diet or getting into something like this would ever be able to, expand your horizon so much. It's not something you planned. I didn't join Amura for that, but I think it happened, and I'm lucky about that.